From the far eastern city of Vladivostok, Navalny supporters faced off with police in sub-zero temperatures. The authorities had denied permission for the demonstration, but it didn't stop the crowd gathering to call for the release of the man leading Russia's most prominent opposition movement. In the capital, Moscow, tens of thousands had gathered. Police using batons on the crowds. Some were forced back by protesters as they chanted, "Freedom for Alexei Navalny." Among those detained, Navalny's wife, Yulia. Apologies for the poor quality, she wrote on her social media page. Very bad light in the police van.
好的，我们也希望能够有更多的好消息传来。
和巷道排水，1号钻孔继续监测中。同时的井下矿
食品、衣物、生活用品等5中段井下10名矿工转入恢复正常饮食阶段。那关于救援的最新进展，我们也。
And India and France have been carrying out combined air defense exercises in Rajasthan's Jodhpur. The bilateral exercises go by the code name Desert Night 21. This is the first edition of the crucial defense exercise, and as part of the first drill, 4 Rafale fighter jets landed in Jodhpur and the planes flew over 4 hours from Djibouti Air Base, and the exercise started on January 20th and ended today. Let's now talk about the mean machines that will be part of the Desert Night, and the French are participating with Rafale, Airbus A330 multi-role tanker transport and the A400M tactical transport aircraft. Approximately 175 personnel of the France's air forces are taking part in the drill. The Indian Air Force has sent its Mirage 2000 and Su-30 MKI Rafale and the IL-78 fighting refueling aircraft.
After Taiwan reported that Chinese bombers and fighter jets entered its air defense identification zone, United States of America has urged China to stop pressuring Taiwan. In a strongly worded statement, U.S. State Department reaffirmed commitment to the island and urged Beijing to cease its military, diplomatic and economic pressure against Taiwan. China has conducted almost daily flights over the waters between southern part of Taiwan and the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands. 8 Chinese bomber planes and 4 fighter jets entered the southwestern corner of Taiwan's air defense identification zone, and this happened on Saturday. Taiwan's Air Force deployed its missiles to monitor the Chinese incursion. The presence of so many Chinese combat aircraft on this mission is, however, unusual.
Over-policed and underserved. Those are the accusations of Tunisian protesters who say authorities only serve the elite and protect corruption.
Police are everywhere, but we don't see their presence when there are murders, thefts, rape and terrorism. The police only repress the people.
Police charged the crowds at the latest rally in more than a week of protests. Protesters hurled back gates set up to restrict their movement. Human rights groups and left-wing political parties organised the protests and say they were met with the same heavy-handedness they have been rallying against. It was 4 a.m. when authorities sprang into action. They announced Hong Kong's first lockdown of the COVID-19 pandemic. It only covers a few dozen buildings, but this part of the city is dense. So about 10,000 residents are on lockdown for about 2 days. When residents of the hot zone woke up, it was time for mandatory testing. About 3,000 personnel from the police, fire, immigration and corrections departments were mobilised to implement the order. This is where almost half of Hong Kong's new COVID-19 cases are coming from. It's working class, with many poor and elderly residents. And authorities won't lift the lockdown until everyone has been cleared or isolated.
The South African Medical Association is questioning the value of Cuban doctors brought to South Africa to help fight the coronavirus. The doctors were hailed for having experience in community service, and hundreds of millions of rands have been spent on the ground. So according to reports, we've spent a total of 239 million rand on these doctors. Was it all worth it?
As you know, we had said stuff or even complained to a certain extent that there were South African doctors were left behind and were not employed. It was until we made that noise that we were approached by the Department of Health to provide a list of unemployed doctors in our country.
Turkish officials are coordinating with all the embassies in the area. The ambassador to Nigeria says that Turkey has a policy of not paying a ransom to the pirates, and that they are coordinating with the security agencies of various countries in that area. Now, what happened was that this Turkish cargo vessel, MV Mozart, was targeted by pirates some 100 nautical miles to the southwest of Sao Tome. Now, of the 19 crew members, the one who was killed has been identified as an Azerbaijani sailor. The Turkish president, as well as the Turkish foreign minister, they've talked to the fourth captain of this vessel. The Turkish foreign minister has also talked to the foreign minister of Azerbaijan and offered condolences, as well as said that the body is going to be sent to Azerbaijan as soon as the Turkish authorities have the body.
Despite rumours of cancellation, Japan's Prime Minister insists the 2020 Olympics will still go ahead. His announcement comes after British newspaper The Times reported the Games would have to be pulled, citing unnamed government sources, claiming Japan now hoped to secure the Olympics in 2032. Currently scheduled to open on the 23rd of July, the Tokyo Games were first postponed 10 months ago at the start of the pandemic. Now they're set to go ahead in a modified format due to COVID-19 countermeasures, and are set to cost at least an extra €1.9 billion.
Entering the Philippines' only nuclear power plant is like a step back in time. The Bataan nuclear power plant was built in the 70s and was the first in Southeast Asia. But it never opened. It was mothballed, and past presidents were hesitant to recommission it because it was a reminder, they say, of the excesses of former President Ferdinand Marcos's regime. But the country's electricity prices are among the highest in Southeast Asia, partly because its dependence now on imported fossil fuels. That means the average Filipino family spends between 10 to 20% of their monthly income in electricity. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered his officials to look into the possibility of including nuclear power into the country's energy mix and the possible revival of the Bataan nuclear power plant.
With his trademark suspenders and rolled-up shirt sleeves, Larry King was a legend of broadcast. A career that spanned nearly a half-century, a fixture not only in America, but around the world. Larry King died on Saturday at a hospital in Los Angeles. Cause of death unknown. He had been hospitalized earlier this month from COVID-19. King conducted nearly 50,000 interviews over his career, with presidents and heads of states, celebrities, you name it, he interviewed them. Born in New York to Orthodox Jewish parents from Eastern Europe, King started in radio before moving to television. It was Larry King Live, his trademark interview program on CNN from 1985 to 2010, where he often landed interviews with world leaders who rarely spoke to Western media news outlets.